We are doing this as like a primary form of fundraising, which is something that has never been done at this scale in politics. Blue Sky is our most successful site fundraising wise. What I would really like to see is more Democrats using their resources to help people right now, to fill in the material gaps that Trump has created. I think it's the right thing to do. And I also think it is the most persuasive thing to do if you want to flip either chamber in 2026. The best practice for running for Congress is covering Nazis for half a decade. So we just started doing live stream fundraising instead of this thing called call time. Why do we have to do this? And the answer is always the same. It's what you have to do. There's no way to run a campaign without it. And I don't like that answer.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Hello Merge Tag, a podcast about social media, politics, and where they intersect. We check in with candidates, consultants, strategists, and more to find out what's working and what's not in the political digital world. I'm your host, Josh Clemens of Reverbal Communications. We help progressive campaigns and organizations win the internet. Have questions you want answered on the pod? Have a guest or topic recommendation? Just want to say hey? Drop us a line at hello@reverbalcommunications.com. Find all episodes at hellomergetag.com or wherever you stream podcasts. Now let's dive in. Look out, Facebook. Now you can drive website visits directly from CivicShout. Introducing Express CPC, CivicShout's new cost-per-click ad system. Everyone already knows that CivicShout's the best way to grow your opt-in email list. Folks like M&R, Greenpeace, and Feeding America stand by it. So can you. Grow your list and run traffic campaigns that hit so hard, your team will wonder how you did it. Environmental Action called CivicShout a wildly better way to grow your email list. And Clarify Agency saw a 200% return on ad spend in just 2 months. CivicShout, the ad platform for progressive causes. Head to civicshout.com/partners to learn more. That's civicshout.com/partners. Hey y'all, quick note before we dive in. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving a review on Apple, Google, or wherever you listen. We're also putting every episode on YouTube now, so if you prefer your digital deep dives with video, head on over that way. You can find all links plus lots more at hellomergetag.com. And if you're already watching on YouTube, hey, apparently I am legally obligated to say, please like and subscribe. So go ahead and do that. Okay, thanks, y'all. Back to the show. Kat Abughazaleh is running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District. I personally think she's running one of the most innovative campaigns of the cycle, both from a digital and from a field perspective. Listeners might remember Kat joined us back in April to talk about what it means to run a Bluesky-first campaign. I'm super excited to have her back on the pod today to talk about how her campaign is navigating the internet, fascism, and so much more. So first things first, Kat, thanks so much for coming on. Let's start with some rather unfortunate viral moments you've had recently, standing up and being treated so horrifically by them. Are you doing okay, both physically and in general?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing fine. The video that everyone seemed to have seen everywhere was actually the third time that ICE has specifically thrown me. But what I really want to urge people to think about is that is what they are willing to do on camera. There's a reason we're protesting out there, and it's because the ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois, where ICE headquarters its operations in the Chicago area, is committing crimes against humanity. They have put plywood over the windows in a place where people are only supposed to be held for 12 hours at a time, but they're held for days or weeks without beds or hot meals or access to hygienic facilities. So like I had a bruise that went up my whole right side. My hand was a little messed up, but in comparison to the people we're trying to advocate for, it's nothing.
I saw 2 of the altercations. I didn't see the third. That's not even the right word. Altercation. Them violently throwing you.
Clash with protesters.
Right, exactly. Okay. Glad you're okay. And yes, I think that is you clearly use that as a moment. I never felt like you were making that moment about yourself. It was always about what is happening to the community, which is not always the thing to navigate.
Yeah, I'm really glad because that is always something I'm very concerned and try to be cognizant about. This is not about us. It's about getting this horror show, at the very least, transparency and accountability.
Absolutely. Last time you were on the pod, you stated that you wanted every person in your district to have had their life improved by your campaign. You also called on other candidates, both in your primary and in general, to follow that process. How's that going both for you and for the other campaigns in your district and in general, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's been going great. 750,000 people is a lot, but we're trying to improve as many lives as we can. So we've done a lot of really ambitious projects that have turned out great. So our campaign office, where I'm sitting now, I didn't have it when we first talked, is a mutual aid hub. So people can come in anytime to get clothes, food, toiletries, books, Narcan, COVID tests, baby formula, diapers. People come in every day to get stuff here. Additionally, we've done events like we did a backpack drive where we had 500 backpacks with school supplies and gave them out to kids the day before school. So these were kids that didn't have a backpack that Sunday before school started. And we also had a barbershop down the street that was willing to open on a Sunday. And we had over 300 haircuts and gave out over 500 meals with 2 local businesses, while also registering those kids' parents to vote, which was just like a really awesome utilization of our resources. It was such a great way to connect with the community. And I think it showed a lot of like the difference you can make in politics when you use your resources this way. I have had a lot of people that are running, especially for like local and state offices, that have hit me up and said, can you help me navigate how I can work with C3s, or if this idea worked for you? And I really hope that this becomes the standard rather than the exception.
Amazing. Like, I'd seen some of that stuff on social. I had not seen all, I'm following from afar. So I had not seen all of that. Yeah. I think that's it's such a powerful way to think about it. One of the things that definitely broke through in my feed was your 3D printed ice whistles that you and your like team are like, encouraging folks to print and hand out. Like, is that just something you're just asking folks to do it, or y'all don't have a 3D printer in the office, I assume?
No, we don't have a 3D printer, but we have lots of volunteers with 3D printers. Someone actually just dropped by yesterday with a bag of 400 3D printed whistles.
That's amazing.
And we also have volunteers that use 3D printers in a lot of cool ways. We do like bracelet making parties, and you can trade your campaign bracelets with each other. Someone came in with a bunch of beads that have our campaign logo on them. Like, someone made some earrings for our campaign. Like, this is our little, when you open our website, what you'll see on the tab, little icon there. So yeah, it's really been really cool to have so many creative volunteers and be able to use their skills in unique ways that you wouldn't see on a lot of campaigns.
Yeah, the favicon earring, that's super fun. That's awesome. So obviously, like last time we talked about like coat drives and tampon drives. Now it's 3D printed whistles and things like that. But you also talked about like knitting circles, coffee shop meet and greets. There was a lot of focus on like in-person stuff. You live in a piece of this country that has gotten like outright scary. Has that affected the tone of the in-person meetings you're having? Like, do you still feel safe showing up to a redder part of the district and sitting, publicly letting everybody know you're going to be there and inviting them out?
Oh yeah. I mean, I say that the best practice for running for Congress is covering Nazis for half a decade. There is risk in anything you do. We've seen that with a lot of political violence this year in this country. But I want to make sure our campaign is accessible. We try to make sure that our events are as safe as possible, especially if we have a bigger event, that we make sure that there's security there. But I want to make sure that we're reaching everyone. And especially in the redder parts of this district, this district is urban, suburban, and rural. And there are a lot of people in the redder parts that they're like, wow, this kind of sucks. And maybe I'm open to a different type of candidate. Maybe I don't want to feel like flyover country in my own district. One of my favorite events we did this year was our punk show. And it was so much fun. We had it at this local pub and had 3 local punk bands come. Actually, one was a ska band. They did a ska rendition of Every Time We Touch, which I didn't know would go so hard. But I think that in-person interaction is what draws a lot of people to our campaign.
You actually talked about doing a punk concert the last time we chatted, because there was like a Wisconsin punk band that had reached out. So
yes, and they came.
I was really curious.
It was 2 that were like based here, and one that was the other one, and they were the ones that gave me that idea. I forgot that I mentioned that as far back as April.
Yeah,
yes, we made it happen.
I was really curious. Like what else? You talked about like, if you have a special talent, like we want to hear from you. Yeah, I was wondering, and I mean, you got to it on your own, but like, yeah, I'm very interested in that idea of like supporting the people who are supporting you, like finding ways to like let them do it in their own way. How many people showed up to the punk concert? Like, was it like at a tiny club, or like
it was capacity? So it was like a small like local venue,
as punk shows should be, right?
Sam, how many people were at our punk show?
120.
120.
Okay. Yeah.
We've had a lot of other creative volunteers. So we just started doing live stream fundraising instead of this thing called call time, which is like this open secret in politics. It's how most politicians get most of their money, by calling rich people all day. So we started doing live streams instead. Yeah. So we have a lot of volunteers who love watching Twitch, and they've become our moderators on the stream. We have people that, make spreadsheets, people that are in our creative, circles, so they can help us make graphics and stuff like that. We have translators. it's just really cool to see all of the different talents that people can display and being able to utilize them on the campaign.
Oh yeah, amazing. And I definitely have some questions about your live streams, but I do want to ask one other question about ICE. We can assume, unfortunately, that ICE, like this type of takeover, won't be limited to Chicago and Portland. What do you recommend other candidates do to prepare for ICE coming to their communities?
Yeah, you need to be showing up. You need to be showing up consistently. You need to be unafraid of ICE. If you have power or platform or privilege, you need to be using that actively to stand up to ICE. I think part of why that clip of me went so viral is because it was tiny blonde woman gets body slammed by thug in a mask. And while I appreciate the fact that it's gotten so many eyes on this, and while that is horrible, I mean, it's such an excessive use of force. It's kind of like when I talk about being Palestinian and people listen to me more because I have fake blonde hair and real blue eyes. And there are so many people with power right now that could be putting their body on the line. It makes all of us safer when they show up. The first time I went out to Broadview, there were 0 elected officials. The next week there was 1, and then it just kept continuing. And last week we had Senators Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin there. So yeah, I would say show up when there's an ICE protest, be there and be willing to provide support for your community. Like with our office, one of the things that has been really great is because it's open to anyone except ICE. We have a lot of immigrants come in because they don't feel safe getting resources in a lot of places. And making sure that you use, like if you're out campaigning, give out ICE whistles, have Know Your Rights flyers, work with organizations that are protecting the community right now.
Yeah, no, open to anyone, but ICE is a nice sign for the front of the door as well. Okay, so talk digital. First off, you've raised over $1.5 million with an average donation of $32. And from what I see, just again, totally outside, it definitely feels like you're doing something. You're doing this in your own way, for sure. This is not a cookie cutter campaign by any stretch of the imagination. You're currently in the middle of a 4-week trial. Correct me if I'm wrong. About the Twitch live streams, and they seem to be going very well. I saw like one of your roundups talking about how much you're raising. So how did that start, and what do you find works best for those? Let's start there.
So we've actually kind of struggled with this because usually a campaign, when it's set up, it starts with like a call time manager or a finance team, not even a campaign manager.
Right.
But because we're so untraditional, not just how we raise money, but also how we spend it, it's been harder to find people whose values or even vision align with that idea. But one of the certainties in politics is call time. If you run for office, the first thing you will be asked is how many people can you call on day 1 to ask for a maximum donation? It doesn't matter what office you're running for. That is the first question you will be asked by the people helping you set up campaign infrastructure. But it doesn't stop then. Our elected officials and candidates spend hours, like not just 1 or 2, sometimes 4 or 5, 6 hours a day, just sitting in a room and dialing for dollars. And it plays into what we know about politics, is that it's inaccessible in this country for people who aren't rich to be able to run. And if you know more rich people, if you have those connections, you're more successful with it. And so a lot of people, most candidates hate doing it. No one enjoys this. And they'll ask, why do we have to do this? And the answer is always the same. It's what you have to do. There's no way to run a campaign without it. And I don't like that answer. So I did try it. We tried doing it in more of like a grassrootsy way. We would call some of our donors and say, hey, this is first and foremost, let's update you on the campaign. Like that's our top priority. And then if you are able, X amount could pay for Y donation. People are usually happy to donate again. And it's really lovely talking with them. But people don't answer the phone for random numbers anymore. You're spending so much time leaving voicemails, just sitting in a room. And I'm like, we could be spending this time connecting with constituents or even donors in a unique way, or I could be playing video games or taking a nap or whatever it may be. And that's also another thing, is when I have downtime, I'm always thinking about the campaign. Like there's no real way to de-stress. And so I just had this idea, what if we found a way to incorporate live streams and make it more of a game, made it more interactive. We're talking with people in real time, answering people's questions in real time, and I get to do things I enjoy, talk to people I like. And it's been really fun. It's been a blast. And I am so excited to see what the future has in store on that.
Did you already have a Twitch following when you started this, or did you move folks along with you as you like launched this?
I had like 2K people on Twitch. I was shopping around like a show earlier this year called Culture War Games, where I would update people on like the dumb culture war bullshit of the week. And like our first episode, our guest was Elizabeth Warren, which was
Okay, quite a first guest.
yeah, it was Gene Park and Elizabeth Warren. And so I was doing that for like the first 2 months of the year. And then I decided to run for Congress. And so that got put on the back burner as I was building this following. But yeah, it's been growing each week. And we stream on both Twitch and YouTube.
And you're raising, like, it seemed like about $5,000 to $8,000 for each live stream. Is that accurate?
I'd say it's probably like 2.5 to 8,000. It just depends. Definitely with small dollar donations, like 2.5, 3 of just like having fun in these trial things as we're figuring things out.
Yeah,
Some
better
people
than
drop bigger
Aldo.
donations, which is so kind and nice, but it's always nice to know that we have a bunch of grassroots people that want to contribute.
And are you finding, so first of all, like, how much has your Twitch grown? Like you said, you started at 2. Are you like 10x that, or are you just like
I don't think I'm 10x that. I think we're at like 4K, 5K. Let me see.
And are you finding it's the same folks like tuning in and donating, or are you bringing in new folks for like each of these?
So we're at 6.5K on Twitch. So it's a mix. So like sometimes we'll be like my producer Asha, she will tell me someone's name and I'm like, oh, I know that name. Like one is Lisbon M, and they chip in like $10 on a stream, and I'm like, oh, great to see you again. But there are lots of people who are new, and especially as we have guests. Last night we had Amir Talai, who is one of the voices on the TV show Has Been Hotel, and a lot of his fans came on, and that was super fun. And so we're just trying to grow our audience and really like stress and show by example that talking without a script will always be received better by voters than running every message through 5 different focus groups. Like playing Hades 2 is a lot more interactive than like a webinar for 5 rich people.
I've been working on this one campaign for years and years, and I've been running their email program, and every email we send, there's this one person who gives $1 on every email. And I love them so much because it's just like, you know, like it adds up, but also it's just like, obviously they like the email, it moved them. And it's nice to see those same like folks showing up again and again, even if like they're not in a position to max out, like whatever, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
So no, I love that. So yeah, I am curious, like, what are you finding works best? Is it video games? Is it chatting with your team? Is it playing with the cat? Like what, like with your cat, not you, you with your cat. What is it that like you think moves the needle as far as like engagement, or it's across the board?
I think it's all engaging. Like the audience stays pretty consistent and grows pretty consistently. I think in terms of money, it's more effective when like I'm just playing games because I have more time to be like, hey, remember catforillinois.com/stream, which is our stream link, our donation link. And when I'm talking with someone that's like, I'm not interrupting the conversation to be like, donate, or reminding people what the link is. But like the engagement is great in all parts of it. And I'm really, 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 really excited to see what we're going to do after this last week of the trial.
Do you think that this is something that could be replicated outside of Twitch, or is this a Twitch specific type of program?
So I do it on Twitch and YouTube.
Okay.
And I already have a big audience on YouTube. And I know some people don't want to download Twitch or they're not familiar with it. And so I try to just make it as accessible as possible. So I think it can be replicated. The big thing is you have to follow FEC guidelines. So all of my platforms are demonetized. People donate through our ActBlue link, which makes sure that we're following all FEC protocol. And I think that it can be replicated. You know, I had someone say that like this strategy probably works best if you're like Cat Abughazaleh. And I think right now that's kind of true because we're trying something totally new. Like you've had some, especially progressives, play video games online and do stuff like that. But we are doing this as like a primary form of fundraising, which is something that has never been done at this scale in politics. And so, yeah, I mean, we did a 12-hour live stream through the entire district, which was very fun, kind of a technical shit show, very much a case study in why we need better internet access across the country. But it was a lot of fun, and we got to showcase a lot of local businesses. And when I got frustrated with all the technical difficulties, I saw in the chat, people were like, wait, no, this is really cool. It's authentic. And I remembered like, oh, no one's done this before. And so we're kind of the guinea pigs. We're our own guinea pigs. And hopefully we get the hang of it and we do better and we have fun while we're doing it. And then this can be a way for other grassroots campaigns to break through.
And when you say across the district, like you were on mobile, like moving from place to
Yeah,
place?
so we
online?
had at that point I was still using StreamYard, where we had my whole PC setup. Probably would cost around $4K if we bought it, but volunteers donated. We only had to pay $90 for a monitor stand, which is so sick.
Yeah,
But for that one, when I was on StreamYard, we were basically doing everything just through the internet, not Ethernet. And so we had my phone with a lav mic in it, and then a laptop out at all times that we were just like rushing to plug in at any business we went into to make sure that like it didn't run out of battery.
sure.
And then sometimes like just cell service wouldn't be there, or even with hotspots, like everyone had a different hotspot and it just wouldn't work. And that was fine because we had Asha, who at that point was our interim research director, and she would just hop on and be like, "Hey chat, I'm back right now. We're in a rural area and can't keep up the stream."
I don't know if you know, Twitch started as Justin TV, right? Like a guy literally just strapping a phone to himself or a camera before like mobile devices. So back to the roots of Twitch. I love it. And right now you are working towards, you're doing like a challenge, right? Like if you raise a certain amount of money, you're going to do a 24-hour live stream.
That's very much a casual challenge. At chat was like, can we get a 24-hour live stream?
Okay.
And raising 100K in 4 weeks, in like our first 4 weeks of this, I felt like if they somehow reached that, that would be very, very impressive and cool, but also enough to get a 24-hour live stream and not a cent less. I'm really hoping for $99,999.
That seems like a win-win. Yeah. Okay, so I am loving your email program. I even shared a screenshot of one of your emails on my LinkedIn, which I don't do lightly. It was written by your cat. And I talked about the fact that I've read a lot of emails written by dogs. I've even written some, but yours was literally written by your cat. It's so few campaigns sound different in my inbox, and I am like an email nerd. Like I read all of this stuff, and like everything just kind of like feels flat and the same, and yours really doesn't. Can you talk to me about your email process? Like how involved are you day to day? Are you just like greenlighting stuff? Or are you like actually involved in the process? And like how is that ideation happening? Because it really does feel separate from your social program in a pretty powerful way. So I'd love to hear like how you're thinking about email separately from all your social channels.
Yeah, so we work with Goodman campaigns, and they're really cool because they're down to do stuff that like doesn't really provide them a financial incentive, but is new in the political sphere. So we have sent out emails that don't even include a donation link. Like when you donate to us, we send you a picture of my cat and then give you unsubscribe options. Like you can receive fewer texts or none at all. And when you unsubscribe from us, we actually take you off our subscription list. If your email is under like a dead name, you can email us. It will be fixed like that. And it's just, they're down to try a lot of fun stuff. So the heater one, which is my cat, we had been wanting to do it for a while, but she's very polite. So I had to wait until I could get a good picture of her on my laptop. And then when she walked across my laptop, she accidentally activated all that text on there. And I was like, oh, perfect. And so we just did like a keyboard smash. And it was like, yes, a cat wrote this email. And
yeah, it was a great email. Like I said, I screenshot and shared it online.
We had a lot of donations for it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I approve our emails. So for all of our emails, a lot of them, especially as like we've grown on the campaign and like Jacob's learned my voice really well, we've a lot of them I barely have to edit anymore. Some of them I edit more. Sometimes when we have our calls and I'm like, hey, I think this would be a fun idea. But a lot of them come from the people we work with on emails. They're great. And I love that they see the vision we have and they're like, hey, maybe this is a way forward. It's not just about spamming people being like, hi, James Carville here. But towards the end of the quarter, we send out some more, but we're trying to be really honest and transparent about like kind of both bullshit and not bullshit impact of end of quarter deadlines, because like it's stupid that this is how so many judge the viability of a campaign. At the same time, we're trying to be a viable campaign and we want union endorsements and things like that. So we try to be really transparent about it, but we actually have people telling us to text them more, that they like our emails so much. My campaign manager has had people call us and be like, I really liked this email, which I don't think you hear a lot with political campaigns.
Well, So I got about an email a day from you for like the end of quarter, and then I don't think I've gotten one since, which you said was going to happen, right? Like you said, this will be our last email before, or maybe you did like one wrap up like right after, and then it went quiet. I'll also share that Jacob from Goodman Strategies was the first guest on this podcast. So big
Oh, no
fan
way.
of
Yeah,
his.
Jacob is awesome. Yeah, Jacob's really great.
Yeah.
We were trying to find, because like when we were starting our campaign, I was I was the only non-incumbent candidate. We weren't sure if the incumbent was going to run again, but that means that a lot of places won't work with you. And when I was talking to Jacob, like we had talked to some other people and they were like kind of wishy-washy, or gave this idea of, flooding the zone, like we see with a lot of Democratic strategists that kind of take the wrong lesson from things like Obama's email and text campaign. And when I was talking to Jacob, he just he got it.
Yeah, no, like I said, when I decided to do this podcast, he was the first person I invited on. He had just wrapped the Janet Protasewicz race in Wisconsin through Goodman. I mean, they were an outside vendor, but just did phenomenal. Loved the Janet email list. I thought it felt very fresh. So it does surprise me that he's involved in also helping with your program, because it sounds like you, not like him, but like it sounds different. And that is what I would think, nothing less. So on that note of like voice, on our last conversation, you mentioned that you were running all of your own social, I think. But there's so much social. Like I was looking to, like I follow your stuff casually, or whatever, I see it in my feed, but preparing for this convo, I was like going through it, and there's so much of it. Are you still managing all of it yourself, or has your digital team grown? Are you leaning on volunteers? Like, you don't need to get like granular here. I don't need to know like who's on your team specifically. I'm just curious, like, is this still like the one cat show, or are you like working with other folks to make all this output happen?
So the vast majority of my socials is me posting it. But one of the most incredible additions to this team is Mia, who is our creative director, and they are unbelievable. For years, I have wanted someone to free me from the body dysmorphia of editing your own face for hours on end. But it is I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's very vulnerable to send like a bunch of raw footage of yourself to someone and then also trust that they'll make the product you want. Mm-hmm. And I've found that in Mia.
Hell yeah.
They make some of the coolest, most creative ideas. Some of our posters, like we have, just, it's so different, and they get it. And they're really great about hearing your vision for something and actually making it a reality. And so most of like shit posting is me. My campaign manager is Sam. Like if we have to whip up a statement on the fly, he'll draft something up. And just like with Jacob, I usually edit it very little because he has to spend a billion hours with me and knows how I talk. Sure. But yeah, for the most part, it is me. And we're all I'm very involved in that process. We did get finally a platform to post across platforms. We use Sendable, because that was always like a huge time suck of like, you have to have a thumbnail for this, you have to have a caption for that. And so having that in like one place has been really nice. But yeah, so it's mainly me and Mia.
Folks who know me know that I'm obsessed with Publer, which is like my version of Sendable. Like I use it. I don't think I could survive in social. Like if I had to, I have one candidate who I'm regularly posting to as many as 8 different places for with content. It's like, it's just not sustainable to be able to like do that natively, or even, so
especially because every platform tries to screw you over, so that way you'll be stuck with that platform. So you have like a bunch of different aspect ratios and like, character limits. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, no, totally. In our last chat, you talked about a campaign Discord, and it was sort of just like a casual mention, but I was curious how that's going. Are you using that for organizing, fundraising, both? How are you growing that, and how is it helping y'all move the needle?
Yeah, it's been going great. Let me see if I can get an updated number for our volunteers on Discord. Downloading update 1 of 1. Stupid. No, but the Discord's going great. It's been a fantastic way to mobilize volunteers, especially for those more creative roles like I was talking about. We have over 3,200 people in there now.
Oh, nice.
And we're actually about to do a relaunch of it, I believe this weekend, with a lot of new, let me see the total number, with like some new organization and leader. 3,600. We're at 3,600 people on our Discord. And it's great because it works like magic. And it's a really fun way to keep people involved in the campaign. I've learned that we have like kind of this subculture of our volunteers who are friends with each other and like organize shit. And it's so cool, especially because like I can't get to hang out with 3,600 people every day, but at least I get to hear from a lot of them. The one example I always give is we did this stand-up show at the Laugh Factory for the campaign, and I had a PowerPoint presentation for what was supposed to be an 18-minute set, and I did not account for an audience, so it ended up being a half hour. But the slideshow was integral, and their projector broke. Their AC also broke, but that's unrelated. It just made me surprised that people stayed the whole time because it was hot as hell. And so we were panicking, and we messaged in the Discord, does anyone have a projector we can borrow? We had one there in 15 minutes. It was straight up like magic. It's so cool. Our volunteers are the best. We had someone, paint our Windows sign. I don't know. I'm so grateful for our volunteers. We have the coolest freaking campaign.
That's amazing. So last time we chatted, it was like the question that I asked you was, what does it mean to run a Bluesky-first campaign? So I guess my first question is do you still consider this a Bluesky-first campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I mean, that's if I'm just shit posting or posting in general, I always post first on Bluesky. Twitter is a cesspool. Yeah. And then the DHS started quote tweeting me, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be here. So I'm still considering my options there of even engaging with a platform where I see Holocaust denial. But Bluesky is still doing a great job with moderation, still transparent. I hear a lot of, especially centrist consultants that complain about Bluesky because they're you can't get money out of it, or people are mean to me because they think we should throw trans people under the bus. Bluesky is our most successful site fundraising wise.
Interesting.
Out of every social media, Bluesky is our most successful one. And that's just me putting a donation link under tweets that go off or posts that go off. Skeets.
Yeah, sure.
So I really just think it's a skill issue.
Well, I was going to ask, do you have any advice for candidates struggling to build an audience there? Because I feel like there was definitely a moment, right after the election, everybody was excited about it. Rachel Maddow was pushing her people there. And then it sort of feels like it plateaued in the zeitgeist. But I mean, I look at your feed and you've got tens of thousands of you've got the type of engagement on Bluesky that a lot of candidates are struggling to find these days on Twitter, but once upon a time could. I don't see a lot of campaigns popping off on Bluesky. So yeah, I'm just curious, any advice for is it just post more and better content, or is there is there any advice you can offer?
Yeah, I mean, posting better content would probably be good advice for anything.
Right, for anything.
I think a lot of it's authenticity, though. Okay. That's one thing that has resonated with my work since before I ran for office, and it's not something I try to do. I just communicate how I would want to be communicated to, and that makes the world a lot better in general, I think. I think when people complain about Bluesky too much, it's because they haven't spent more than 5 minutes on the platform. So they haven't followed people they like or created feeds. Or in some cases, it's just straight up bigotry. People will complain about Bluesky. They're they don't like free speech. And then they'll just continually dead name someone or be I don't know, Elon Musk might have an idea with this eugenics stuff. And it's my guy. And I think part of it is people have said that I've had people describe it as a echo chamber. I don't think that's true. I think we've had the window shift so much on what we consider normal that we're the normal is when you have boosted accounts constantly posting white supremacist bullshit, and the lefty one is when people aren't doing that. And I personally don't want that to be reality.
No, hell yeah. So okay, there are not a lot of campaigns that are nailing YouTube. I don't see even statewide races. I don't really see anybody doing YouTube well from a campaign perspective. Plenty of progressive, influencers and news creators, content creators, but I don't see any really campaigns on there. But you've got 130,000 subscribers on YouTube and a ton of engagement. Do you have a different strategy for for YouTube than you do for TikTok or Instagram? Do you approach long form video differently?
I basically just keep doing the work I used to do.
From Media Matters and
yeah, I mean, when I was at Media Matters, I was actually making those videos in my personal time.
Right.
Mia, our creative director, actually watched my work before I ran for office, and they were oh my God, she's running in the district I grew up in, and I've been trying to figure out both the cadence of being a candidate and creating content and creating content that I like doing. And I feel really at home in terms of like explainer communication. And so Mia had this great idea for Labor Day of, instead of just, showing up to a Labor Day parade and being like, that's it. I used to be a union rep. I think labor history is some of the most interesting and vital history in our country. And center of a lot of it was in Chicago. What if we went to, Haymarket Square and talked about what happened there? What if we go to where the Pullman massacre occurred and talk about that? And then in between those, I'm giving the historical context at my desk, like one of my more traditional videos.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so much fun to make. Although I know Mia had to edit until like 4 a.m. But it was so much fun to make and really resonated with people and was something we could put across platforms. And so that's been something that I really enjoyed doing, not just like as a candidate, but as me. I think part of the thing with YouTube is you can't just like post some glossy ad. Like if you're trying to communicate something, what are you trying to communicate?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, super helpful. Any thoughts on the shutdown and how Democrats are handling it?
It's taken so much to get here. And I think there are a lot of steps that we could have taken to avoid this or possibly not be in the situation we are right now, where ICE has a seemingly unlimited budget while, federal workers aren't being paid, while people can't get access to basic services. What I would really like to see is more Democrats using their resources to help people right now to fill in the material gaps that Trump has created. I think it's the right thing to do. And I also think it is the most persuasive thing to do if you want to flip either chamber in 2026 and make a serious cultural impact.
I'll have links to all your channels in the show notes, but if folks are only going to connect with you on one spot, should it be Blue Sky, email, something else?
CatForIllinois.com. That's Cat with a K. If you go on there, this is kind of a cheat answer, because if you go on there, you'll find all of my socials right on the page. So CatForIllinois.com, KATFOR Illinois.com.
And then you've clearly built a campaign around hope and community. Like, that's clear in a time that feels increasingly authoritarian. Anything else that we haven't talked about that keeps you going?
My cat, Ben, my amazing staff, our awesome volunteers. I think at my core, I'm an optimistic person. I don't think that this is forever. I think fascism is antithetical to the human condition, and that it will one day, anger and pain outweigh the fear, but we need to make sure the fewest number of people get hurt in the meantime. And so when people talk about joy as an act of resistance, that is absolutely true. And that's not just burying your head in the sand because things get overwhelming. It's coming together with your community. It is building things with your community. It is being physically present, and it is standing strong in your values. And that's what we're trying to do and what we're trying to nurture. And I hope more of our leaders do the same.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much for coming back on and sharing some of your wisdom and your story. Super, like I said, I've been following the campaign from afar, so it's nice to get to like hop in here and have you like pull back the curtain and tell us what's going on. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Josh. It's a pleasure.
That does it for another episode of Hello Merge Tag. Thanks so much for listening. Know anyone who might appreciate this podcast? Please share it with them today. Find all episodes at hellomergetag.com or wherever you stream podcasts. Have questions or want to connect? Drop us a line at hello@reverbalcommunications.com. Until next time, keep on telling your story.